This is going to be your November reading for 2018. This is your general reading. If you want to find out more about things like relationships and your career and more specific things, you're definitely going to want to check out your bonus reading at some point on my channel. I've actually had quite the rough couple of weeks of just feeling overwhelmed on multiple levels, and have been feeling a little under the weather as far as feeling on the verge of getting sick. So I actually did your entire general reading 5 days ago, and after I finished it, I realized that for whatever reasons it hadn't recorded. And so here is another one. And this month, instead of shuffling and picking your cards on camera, just to save time, I decided to do this before I started recording. So I can assure you I had you guys in mind when I was shuffling and picking the cards as usual. So I'm going to show you your 11 card Celtic cross spread, and then I'll go into your clarifiers as I read. Before I show you your cards, as usual, I'm using the spiral deck, which my copy of this is extremely old and scuffed. I've had this for decades. This is going to be your main reading. And then for clarifiers this month, I actually got a new deck just to have something different. And it is called the Wildwood Tarot. I'm not sure exactly who created it. This actually came in a box that didn't even have the name of the tarot deck on it or the creator on it. So I actually had to Google it and find out what it was called. So these will be used for your clarifiers. And here are your 11 cards. Hopefully you guys have been doing okay. And this is quite the interesting reading, so we'll see what happens from this. Your central experience for the month of November is the Queen of Pentacles. You have had her come up quite a bit in past months in your readings. She still seems to be hovering around. Your countering experience to this, or your challenge, is the Four of Cups. I'm feeling as though you are feeling that this is a detriment to you, but it may end up being a blessing in disguise. I'm reading this as this is what is hindering you, but I'm getting a feeling that it's not really hindering you. You just feel that way about it. And we'll get into it. What is helping you is the Hermit. It's actually 12 cards, you guys. At your root of your being, you have the Ace of Cups. You have quite a few aces here. This is actually very similar to the original reading I did for you guys. It's kind of interesting how these things come out in patterns. In the recent past, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Your best possible outcome is the Princess of Wands. Your near future looks very good. You have the Three of Cups. You right now are strength. In your surroundings, you have the Hanged Man. Hopefully you can see these cards okay. Your hopes are the Hierophant, is the Hierophant. This is interesting. Your general outcome for November is the Ten of Swords. Don't freak out too bad. This is definitely a very specific story in here. So hopefully this will apply to you. If not, then I guess it just wasn't your reading this time around. This is for the Aquarius collective. And so not all the details in here are going to apply, or they may apply, but in very different ways for all of you. So I'll try to make sense out of this for you. So, your central experience for November, excuse me, seems to be that you have started something in the past that is now flourishing, or you want to continue to nurture this business or relationship or goal or dream that you want to manifest. This reading and the reading that I did for you earlier that was erased is tied in somehow with your eclipse reading from July. So if you haven't watched that, you may want to watch that again. This seems very related to that. This seems to be an ongoing story for you guys. So it feels as though you are finally realizing on a certain level that if this is going to continue to grow and become even more prosperous, this is your pet dream or your pet wish or your pet goal that you've been pouring a lot of your energy into. If you want this to flourish, it seems as though you need to take a new approach to this. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I ended up having to pick 3 clarifiers to go with this. You have the 2 of Pentacles. In this deck, it's called the 2 of Stones, and it's called Challenge. It feels as though you are challenged by this wanting to bring this fully into fruition. You may feel torn within yourself. You may feel undecided, or you may be encountering challenges in your outer surroundings concerning how to best go about doing this or manifesting this. You may be met up with challenges in the external world, as in from other people, situations around you. It seems as though you're trying to balance things, but there's so much going on right now that you may be feeling undecided on how to proceed from here about this. Part of this might be because you received some kind of a message. This is the Page of Swords in this, which is called the Page of Arrows, the Wren bird. And so it seems as though there may have been some kind of a delay in seeing progress happen enough with this, and you have felt challenged possibly by other people or circumstances, and you received some kind of a notice or information that cleared up your eyes on exactly what is happening or how you should proceed from here. You may have been communicating with people, getting communications from people, or simply just having your eyes opened to certain things that perhaps you weren't aware of before. And that leads me to your 3rd clarifier, which in this deck, this is the Devil card, but in this deck it is called the Guardian. And I find it really interesting that this is a skeleton, because this is a Capricorn card, and so is the Queen of Pentacles is a Capricorn suit card, or a court card rather. So perhaps you're dealing with a Capricorn, or you yourself may have planets or other things in Capricorn. And when I compare the 2 Capricorn cards, the Queen of Pentacles is surrounded by lushness and fruitfulness and growth. And she is fruitful to the point of being able to sit back and relax and just enjoy herself, enjoy her life, and enjoy what she has manifested. This Queen of Pentacles reminds me of Mother Nature, or of organic, natural growth. That does definitely have to do with patience and allowing cycles to unfold and allow things to grow in their own natural timing. But the Guardian here is bones. And bones are ruled by the archetype of Capricorn and Saturn. It is what holds the skeleton is what holds our bodies together. And so something about the structure of this may need to be redone, or something about the old way of doing things is no longer working anymore. It's causing too much strife or challenge or indecision. You may be realizing at this time that you need to revamp the entire system of structure with this, or rules, or defining lines on how this works. If you are trying to bring something into reality that is fruitful and helpful and organic, it may be that you need to invent a completely new way, which reminds me of your sign, Aquarius. You may be wanting to honor traditions and honor old structures, but at the same time you're realizing these old structures have become completely limiting and they may need to be redone. And so if I read that in a relationship sense, but keep in mind this is a general reading, this isn't necessarily about romance unless it comes out on its own. I would say something about the way that the relationship has been needs to dramatically be reinvented in order to have true communication and avoid conflict. You may also be thinking about where your foundation is. Where do you want your foundation to be? Okay, so let's move on. Your challenge to this situation is that you may not be sure. You may be feeling feelings of doubt or feelings of not impotence, but a feeling of fruitlessness, of wondering if you have enough energy or time to really nurture this, and you need this to work out if you are going to pour your energy into this. You may be feeling a lack of energy, or a feeling of apathy, or a feeling of not being sure whether you can actually do this or not. And as far as reinventing things, your clarifier with that is the Two of Swords, which in this deck is called Injustice. It may be that you're realizing something about the groundwork or the structure or the rules or the old way is not fair. It's not just. It's making you wonder what direction you should go in. You're wondering if you go with the old way or honor the old traditions, is this actually going to work? Or you want to strike out in a new way. You want to reinvent things, but you are stuck in your own mind about this on whether or not this is possible. I'm getting a feeling here of that you've had setbacks in the past, or have encountered opposition or even slander on how you were perceived for things like this in the past, and so you're not sure if you can really do this again. As in, you're afraid of the risks involved. If you do this, you need this to work out. If this doesn't work out, you don't know if you can do that again. I feel as though you've already been through this. And this is one of the reasons on why you're undecided on what to do or what to decide, is you're wondering whether this is actually going to happen or not. So that's your setback or your challenge. Hopefully this is making sense, you guys. So what I'm getting here is that what has been hindering you is you have been having to wait way too long for things to grow. Things are not manifesting quite the way that you thought they would, or all of your hard work and effort that you've put into something seems to be growing extremely slowly. So slowly, in fact, that you may be even perceiving it as not growing at all. You're having to wait too long, or you're just not seeing growth the way that you would like. So this is what is hindering you. But we'll get to some other things about that later. So this is interesting. You have two hermits. The hermit is what is helping you, and the hermit was its clarifier, which in this is called the hooded man, number 9. So when you get the same card as a clarifier with the card that it goes with, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's just an underlining of the whole energy in general, where it's saying, yep, this is definitely what's happening. So what is helping you is to go within and seek answers. I mean, really go within. Trust your own perceptions. Get away from the madness, if you do have madness going on around you, to get some inner clarity about this and do some soul searching. That is the only way that you're going to receive some kind of a vision to help you with moving this thing forward. Whether it's a career, a goal, something that you're doing, something that you're creating, or even a relationship. Whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, you need to do some soul searching and go within to really get some clarity. There may be some things going on that you're not seeing clearly. And you need to trust your own perceptions and your own view of these things rather than anyone else's. You may want to go on a trip or a vacation, or just simply make space and time to really do some inner searching to get clarity. At your root, you have the Ace of Cups. So this does feel as though there is a lot of inspiration and love with this new thing. You have quite a few aces in here, so I definitely feel as though you have been working towards a new beginning, or have already started a new beginning in the past. That means a great deal to you. And this could be a new relationship, a new love, falling in love, or falling in love with a goal or something that you're trying to do, or something that you're trying to manifest. You started a while back to feel differently in a good way. You started to feel more inspired, or more awake, or aware, or more alive, and wanting to go more towards your big dream, or a dream, or several dreams. And you still have this within you. You still have this fire or this emotion in you to continue with this and continue to allow this change to happen. I feel as though things are being renewed, or an old dream that you had is coming to fruition, or you want it to, or you're bringing it into being, but you're realizing that something about your mindset or how you are looking at it needs to change so that you can create the best possible structure or base for this. That isn't necessarily along the lines of tradition, or what you're used to, or what you've been taught. And this is bringing me back to the clarifier with your Ace of Cups is the 7 of Swords, which in this is called insecurity. Mentally, you're having some issues because as part of your challenge, you have this feeling of not having enough energy, or not being sure, even though you know what you want, which is that 1 cup. You know you want this cup and you want to bring it into fruition, but it seems as though you haven't had as much energy to focus on this, or you're not sure if you have it in you to do this because of some feelings of indecision, or because of indecision caused by injustices in the past, possibly when you've tried to do similar things to this. And that's why you have some insecurity deep in your being, especially on a mental level, concerning this new love. And the new love can be an actual relationship, or it can be just a great love that you have for something that you want to go towards or bring into being. So in the past, you have the Ace of Pentacles. You planted this seed, I'm guessing, sometime around the eclipse time in your eclipse. That was at the end of July. You've been wanting to do this for quite some time. And you started this, or you implemented this in the past, possibly around the end of July is when you were fully ready to put this out. And again, you have another Ace of Cups, which in this is called the Ace of Vessels. This is their version of the Ace of Cups. This is your second Ace of Cups in here, and it's called the Waters of Life. This is a new concrete, possibly money-making thing, or a seed that you have planted that you care a great deal about, that you want to remain solid and continue to grow this. This is most definitely a new path. You have 3 aces so far in here. So, but again, another clarifier for this is the 7 of Cups, which in this deck is called Mourning. Hopefully you can see that. Certain things have not worked out the way that you thought. Or this could be a blockage that's happening for you mentally and possibly emotionally because of past setbacks that you're still trying to heal from. And so you're reluctant to completely have total faith in this because of setbacks in the past, or the fact that this hasn't been growing the way that you want it to. There's something about this. It feels as though you truly need to embrace a completely new way of doing this than before. Something about the old way is just simply not working anymore. Normally, you guys have great inventive minds that are able to see things from outside of the box or outside of the structure. But this feels very deeply felt. Possibly these are things you've been taught by your family since childhood, or things that you've been taught to believe that the world is like, or that love is like, or something. And it almost feels like a slight feeling of disillusionment, or a feeling of snapping yourself out of a fog to see the clear reality of situations. But this is just one aspect of it, and we'll keep going. There's more coming up. So your best possible outcome is the Princess of Wands, which again is all about a new way of doing something. Experimentation, playing with the energy, playing with how you do things, possibly learning new methods or new ways of doing things that you can incorporate into something, or to completely reinvent something altogether from its base. Your best possible outcome is to stay positive, have the energy that you need, and to keep on moving forward with this and believe that this is what you're supposed to be doing. But again, your best possible outcome is to do it in a completely new way, or in an experimental, playful way, to see what happens. I'm definitely getting something in here about input from other people, of combining forces with other minds or other people in order to come up with good, fun, creative strategies that perhaps you never would have thought of before. Or it'll come to you in a flash. But you definitely need to start a new path of action or a new way of doing this. And just simply to stay positive and realize you're not a master at this, whatever it is. And so you need to experiment and realize, of course, that you are not perfect. You may not always know what you're doing. but you do know that you're supposed to be doing this. So your clarifier with that is in this deck. It's called Balance, but this is the Temperance card, number 14. And so again, I'm getting something in here about creating a completely new way that incorporates the good aspects of the old traditions in with a completely new situation or way of doing it. Also, to stay positive and calm is your best possible outcome, and to just keep on learning as you go, to keep on incorporating new things in as you go, to stay flexible, to stay balanced, to stay positive, and realize you don't have to do one or the other. You don't have to do a completely, absolutely, completely new way that has never been tried before, and you don't have to go with the old traditions as your base for this. This is saying coming up with a combining of those two things, honoring the past or honoring the traditions, in with combining it with completely new ways of seeing things or doing things. This could apply to so many different things. This could apply to your relationships. This could apply to what you do with your goals, with whatever it is that you're trying to do right now. It feels really important to you and something that you've been wanting to do for a long time. But you don't have to think black and white about this. You don't have to think yes or no, or black or white, or this way or that way. You can come up with a new way that is a combining and a blending of ways. And so, also, don't forget to play and have fun and enjoy your life. Don't get too caught up in your own head about doubts or sadness from setbacks or opposition from other people. So in the near future, this looks wonderful. You have the Three of Cups, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you the clarifier. You have the Sun, again, the Sun of life. Happiness, total filling of your being with energy caused by mutual support with other people. This could be dear friends, it can be allies, it can be people that you work with, it could be people who have similar emotional goals as you. But basically, by not feeling so alone. The Hermit is what is helping you, so it is important for you to go within and get your own answers on things, to seek your own inner clarity about things, but also to not forget to play, surround yourself with like-minded people or people that you can combine energies with almost effortlessly, that are mutually supportive and supportive of you in your goals. And also possibly combining forces with other people instead of doing this thing on your own. And that will bring you much needed energy, optimism, belief in yourself, belief in your own abilities. Just because you have had setbacks in the past of possibly surrounding yourself with the wrong people, or having opposition from other people, this is about finding the people that do support you and focusing on those people. And from doing that, you will feel so much more sure of yourself and alive and full of vitality. I see really good things for you. This can also be celebrations. You may be going to a wedding or a festival or a gathering or a council or something really important. I'm almost getting for somebody, these are important, very important people that you're having some kind of a meeting with, or you're gathering together at a certain location in order to hash out some things concerning this big plan that you have, or this big thing that you want to manifest. These are very important, influential people, and not in a not in a negative sense. These are beneficial people, people with hearts. So I'm going to pause this just for a moment because my puppy's freaking out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm so paranoid now ever since people's readings started to get erased randomly by my computer, and always make sure it's rolling. Okay, so you right now are strength. Good. Your clarifier with this is the shaman in this deck, but this is actually the magician, number 1. So 2 really powerful self-empowering cards. You do have the energy and the strength necessary in order to get through this period. You also have the focus, mental capacities, and clarity of mind in order to move forward with this and to stay empowered with this. Whatever it is that you're trying to create. It seems as though in possibly the recent past or presently, as I'm doing this, it's the beginning of November, it seems as though you're struggling either mentally or emotionally with whether or not this is actually going to work, or whether or not you can do this, or whether or not you can reinvent this in a completely new way. It's kind of like whatever you began was along some old lines without you maybe even realizing it, and now you've realized it because you're starting to see some slowing down, or you have been seeing a slowing down of progress, and this has been making you worry. But it looks like you snap out of it, and a lot of it has to do with your own morale, making sure that your own morale gets high again, but also your morale gets lifted up by other people. Maybe you've been holding this to yourself a little bit too much, and you've needed to focus on the right people, or find the right people. You may be having allies coming in the future that make you feel re-inspired and renewed with new energy and passion. For whatever reasons, your passion has been lagging a little bit recently with morale on whether or not you can do this, but I see it coming back, and coming back full force, because you're not going to let the setbacks stop you from doing this. You've come too far already. You can't give up now. So you might as well see this thing through and conjure up enough energy, morale, and passion to keep on going with this, and to believe in yourself, to believe in your own abilities. Just because you may have had setbacks in the past with people not understanding where you were coming from or not believing in you, doesn't mean that you can't do it, and it doesn't mean that you're going to continue to attract people like that, as long as you focus on a new creative approach that has nothing to do with the old system or the old way of seeing things, and instead is a really interesting blending of the good parts of traditions or what you have experienced in the past in with a totally new way of doing this. And so in your surroundings, you have the Hanged Man. What I'm getting here, and I got this earlier with the Seven of Pentacles, which was what was hindering you. But what I'm getting is that even though you have perceived it as hindering you, this slowing down of things, this has been necessary in order for you to see things in a new way, in order for you to see things differently. Something about the way you were looking at things before was possibly too locked up in old ways of thinking about things, or old things that you have been taught, or old things that you used to believe, that perhaps now you're realizing you're not so sure if you believe those things anymore. Hopefully this is making sense, you guys, and I'm not being too vague here. But things have been put on hold for a reason. especially with your outer reality, with seeing progress, physical progress with stuff. But that was necessary. This lull was necessary in order for you to see things in a new way. This card, 0, the Wanderer, is the Fool in this deck. This is your clarifier. Things needed to be put on hold in your surroundings, or are needing to go through this process right now, even though it's frustrating, in order for you to see things in a completely new way. You had to get to this point. If this thing is going to grow, whether it's a relationship or a business or a goal or something that you're creating or inventing in your life, this process needed to happen in order for it to grow. If you continue to stay locked up in old mental patterns or old belief systems or old traditions, you perhaps were locked up in them without even really realizing it, or something about these old things linger. If you continue to stay in that state, nothing would have ever grown. And so this has forced you to see things in a different way. The Wanderer, or the Fool, is all about embracing the new and embracing what is possible. It goes along with the saying of anything is possible. Everything happens for a reason. Anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself and you trust the process and you take the leap into the unknown, or you wander. When you wander off path, it doesn't mean that you're lost. It means that you're exploring. You're seeing what's out there. You're seeing what else that can be discovered. What else can be discovered? What else can be brought into your consciousness in order to bring about this new, positive, balanced way of doing things, which is your best possible outcome. And so your hope is for healing and transformation. This is the Death card in this deck. This is the Hierophant, which is the speaker of ageless wisdom and has a great deal to do with healing. Healing and integration is necessary in order to be able to manifest what you desire on earth. You must deal and transmute and transform these old ways into a new way. And I'm getting an emphasis on how you perceive things. How you perceive things has been dramatically changing in order for you to be able to heal and manifest what you want. But if you don't look at these old ghosts or these old fears or these old traditions that no longer serve you, you may not be able to move forward. And so this is your hope, is to be able to transform, renew, to evolve, to move on, so that you no longer have to deal with these old ghosts that you have been dealing with. Which is leading me to your outcome card, which is the Ten of Swords. The old perceptions, the old way of perceiving things, the old ways of looking at things or understanding things needs to come to an end now in order for you to see things in a completely new way. Whatever this is about feeling betrayed or feeling misunderstood or not acknowledged or not honored for your brilliant mind and your brilliant soul and your inventive, interesting way of seeing things and bringing new ideas in to be able to reinvent things. You can't reinvent things if you're still hanging on to this. If you're still hanging on to old pain, or even simply just old ways of perceiving things or communicating, or any of those sword, air, intellectual type things. Whatever you have been taught in the past, I am getting that there are some good jewels in with what you have been taught in the past that can still be incorporated and still continue. But there's a lot of old garbage that either you were taught to believe or that you believed about yourself. or that you believed about the world in general that needs to come to an end in order for you to move forward. Until you put this to an end, this is reminding me of death, which is helping you. These things need to be put to an end once and for all so that you can fully move forward. And something about these old perceptions or ideas or beliefs that need to come to an end have to do with traditions and how things have been done so far, or how things have been done all along. Again, there's something about the old traditions or the old way or the old structure that needs to come to an end, or that you need to separate yourself from, so that you can take the good bits, the good parts, and blend it, meld it, combine it with a brand new, fun, exciting way that has more to do with what you are capable of than what you have been taught that you are capable of. And if for some of you, for some reason, if you feel as though you need somebody else, like an authority figure or somebody wiser, somebody more knowledgeable, that isn't necessarily what I'm getting here. Any real teachers that come along will just teach by example. They're never going to try to actually mold you or get you to believe anything that they believe in. They teach, true teachers teach by example, and it's up to you and your own free will on whether you want to take the teachings or not. And a really good teacher is simply just reminding you of things that you already know within yourself. At least that's how I'm reading it right now anyway. So if you do need wise counsel from something other than yourself, because keep in mind the Hermit is what is helping you, is to realize your own innate wisdom. You do not necessarily need to go to an authority figure in order to figure things out. You can do that on your own. But any true, real teachers that come along would never in a million years do this to you. And so whatever, if for some of you are wondering whether you can actually do this on your own or trust your own innate power, you totally can. You don't need anyone else. You don't need to look up to anything. Not that you would look down on anything either, but there isn't any external thing that's going to fix things for you. This is all going on within you. You're going through a massive transformation of your mind, of how you perceive things, how you see things, and what you view as possible for you. And I'm getting the feeling that because you are going through this healing process of realizing these truths, you are about to have some really good fortune. You're about to have renewed passion, energy, and life force, as well as a feeling of being supported and having mutual support with possibly friends, lovers, family members, groups, councils, just like-minded, positive reinforcement that you can all do for each other to build each other's morale up. So you are definitely not alone in this process. Okay, hopefully that made sense to you. I wish you all the best. Many blessings to you, and I will see you soon for your bonus reading. Okay.